Now, the sentencing of the first person to be convicted under Hong Kong's controversial national security law is expected later today. A 24-year-old called Tong could face life in prison. He was found guilty of terrorism and inciting secession after being filmed riding a motorcycle into a crowd of police officers while carrying a flag in support of democracy in Hong Kong. Well, let's go now live to Hong Kong, where Michelle Hennessy is standing by for us. So, Michelle, when are we expecting the sentencing, and how are people reacting in the hours leading up to this?
We are expecting this sentencing any minute now. I'm told by people inside the court that the judges have arrived. We saw his defense lawyer arrive about half an hour ago. So it's truly any minute now that we will find out the sentencing for Tong Kit, the first man to be found guilty under the national security law. You can see there's a lot more people here from when we spoke last hour. A lot more police officers have arrived. You can see them behind me. A lot more media are here waiting to broadcast the mood outside the court once that sentencing comes down. We've also seen, if you can see behind me, there's a dozen or so supporters of the national security law who have lined up here. They're waving banners calling on the courts to give Tong Kit the toughest possible penalty. They want him to be made an example out of in Hong Kong. So you can see just how divided the mood is outside the court.
And Michelle, what does this mean for any future cases of this kind?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of cases like it. But if I can just, I think the news has just broken as we speak. It says the first person convicted under the Hong Kong national security law has been sentenced to 6.5 years in prison for inciting secession. It also says that he's been sentenced to 8 years for terrorism. It's unclear at this point whether they're going to be served concurrently or in addition to. I'll bring you more information as it comes available. But there you have it. The news has just broken in the past few minutes. 8 years for terrorism, 6.5 years for inciting secession in this landmark case that has the eyes of the world on it.
Okay, Michelle Hennessy there in Hong Kong with the breaking news that the first person charged under the national security law in Hong Kong has now been charged. 6.5 years for secession, 8 years for terrorism. More on that story later in the day.